All right, let's get into the next pick. Let's get some positive news on Daniel Jones.
Ooh,
Ooh, positive with Daniel Jones?
positive giant goofballs. Nothing.
Really
I'd
there.
like to hear more.
So, Daniel Jones is named a surprise fantasy pick there. Now, Rob, I know this is your category. You know me. I don't not really much of a fantasy person. But anytime I get positive news on Daniel Jones, I want to share it because it's like there's not a lot of positive out there. People mostly
No.
talk negative. So let's get a little positive going. So this is right from PFF. They said Daniel Jones finished as QB9 in 2022, in large part thanks to his rushing abilities. His 708 yards ranked fifth at the position, while his seventh rushing touchdowns tied for third. He recorded a below-average big-time throw rate and above-average turnover-worthy throw rate, but his volume in the running and passing game was enough to vault him into the top 10. Daniel Jones did not get off to a strong start in 2023 before dealing with injuries that decimated the rest of his season. There is reason to believe Jones could match his 2022 fantasy production this season. The wide receivers he'll have at his disposal are much better than they were at the start of last season. Darius Slayton, Parris Campbell, and Isaiah Hodgins were the three primary wide receivers when Jones was healthy last season. This year, Jones has Malik Nabers as his new lead wide receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson is healthy and should be his second best option. Jalin Hyatt hadn't earned much playing time while Jones was healthy last year, but he should also be part of the mix. And
Yes.
it's an
So-
interesting combo they gave there. But go for
Yes.
it, Rob. You're the fantasy guy.
So, I mean, if you're a fantasy football player, like everyone knows, you got your top five quarterbacks. I mean, you obviously go Mahomes, hands down. But when you're in a 10, 12, 14-man league, like DJ is not a bad pick. And like he could sit there and surprise you. Is he going to be like your number one pick overall? No. Is he going to be like your fifth round pick? Probably not. But like if you're laying around, you got some good receivers and some good, running back play over here. DJ's not a bad pickup because you probably didn't get yourself the Mahomes or you didn't get yourself Herberts or whoever is going to be your top five this year. But DJ, yeah, especially if you're in PPR when he does with all the running, I wouldn't see him doing much running in the first half of the year.
He won't be catching ball much. Just that one catch
Well,
he had in 22.
Yeah, well, I'm saying when you do PPR, it's points per reception, or points per play, pretty much. So when you run the ball, you usually get a point on it. So when he runs 10 times a game, 5 times a game, that's an extra 5-10 points a game. Plus the yards he puts on there counts as a running back. Plus your passing yards.
I never played in that
touchdowns.
kind of thing. I played PPR with just the catch. So yeah, the rushing ones, yeah, definitely. But I think that I think he's not going to run the ball as much as 22. I do think they're overlooking the fact that with the coming back from the ACL, the Giants aren't going to want to put him out there like that. But I do think he's going to throw the ball a whole lot better. The line should be improved than it was in 2022. The offensive weapons around him, minus Saquon, obviously, are much better than they were in 22. I mean, we didn't have anybody like Nabers at all. Wan'Dale Robinson would have been the top receiver. Jalin Hyatt could have been the top receiver. Darius Slayton, obviously, who was a top receiver, is still there. I mean, this is a whole lot better receiving. Even if you want to go to the tight end room at that point, you got a 30-year Bellinger. He should be more experienced, should be better. Theo Johnson, I think, is a nice athletic receiving tight end that could throw a little pop in there. I don't know what to expect of him really, but he's got a potential to throw a little pop into that passing game there. So a lot better weapons around him, that's for damn sure. So while he may not run as much as he did in 2022, he should be a whole lot better of a passer. And those two things, I think, should equal itself out, hopefully, where for those who do get him. I still don't think I'd pick him up as anything more than a backup quarterback, just because I don't have faith he'll stay healthy. But
that's probably your best bet, depending on the size of the league you're in. Because if you're in a 14-man league, you're looking at 20 quarterbacks that people are probably going to draft.
Yeah, no, you're 100%. I mean, you got to look at that always, and you also got to look at is it a keeper league as well? Because it's a keeper league, you definitely don't want to probably get him because we all know we've talked about it before. Again, we talked about the last segment. The Giants are necessarily stuck with him. He's just the best option available right now.
Yeah.
But we don't know what's going to happen long term with him. He could get hurt and be out of the league again if he hurts his neck again. He could be replaced next season in the draft. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on the keeper league you're in. Usually you pick up your top 3 best players. You keep them to the following year.
Oh, see, I used to do a keeper league where it was a franchise league where you kept everybody. And then we had a draft at the end of the year.
Yeah, it depends on the league. That's what I was going to add.
Did like 4 years in a row. That was kind of fun. But yeah, we always did it just like an NFL draft. The worst record got the first pick.
It's not bad.
Yeah, worked out pretty well actually. But yeah, like I said, he's an interesting option for somebody who might not be thought of, because I think a lot of people aren't going to think of him. He's going to sit there because he's Daniel Jones. He's got his haters. But he's a guy that I think could be a surpriser as a backup who could come in potentially and even beat out whoever you have as your starting lineup typically after a couple weeks if he does as good as some people think he can do. He's a guy that can shock you. So,
thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.